Okay, this is the boiling method that I use for preparing the ava. I have a little pan here with 2 cups of water. I'm going to add just a little bit of the water because when I boil it I don't want to add too much water. Only enough to keep the ava wet. So this is the ava. Add the ava here. That's 1, 2, 3. I usually add 4 tablespoons, 4 or 5, depending on how strong you want it. So I got 4 tablespoons there, and we'll heat it up here. And I got a fork here, and I just will stir the ava so that it's all mixed with the water. And then after I get it all mixed with the water, if it's too thick, I'll add a little bit more water. So I can see the lumps in here, so we kind of break up the lumps here. It's a little too thick for my liking, so we'll add a little bit more water. Sometimes you will add the full 2 cups. It depends on how much starch is in the ava that you have. Now if I stop, you can kind of see the little particles that we would strain out float to the top. But anyway, as the water is heating up, you want to constantly stir it because we don't want the bottom of the pan to start burning the starch. It'll collect on the bottom of the pan and start burning. Now you can see on the surface of the ava there's not really too much gloss, and as it starts to rupture the cells of the starches and release the kavalactones, you'll start to see more of a gloss, a sheen on top of the ava. So we keep stirring. You don't want it to, like I said, burn on the bottom, and it doesn't take too long. And then pretty soon it's going to start, you know, like if you're making gravy, how it starts to thicken. So when this ava starts to thicken like the gravy, it's just the starch is thickening. You don't need to add anything. You don't need to add lecithin or coconut oil or anything like that. There you go. You can start to see the little sheen, the little white foam at the top starting to thicken a little bit. It's approaching time for me to turn the heat off and add the rest of the water. Okay, so it's all thicken up now. So I'll add the rest of this 2 cups, and then I've got 2 more cups over here. I'm going to add, and then basically it's still kind of hot. We stir it up and everything. It's still a little bit hot, but we let it cool down, and then after it cools down, we'll put it through the strainer. Now, the strainer that I use, you can go to any hardware store and get like a gallon-sized paint strainer, and that will work. But I have knee-high stockings. I double them up, and basically I'll hold it open like this, and then we pour the ava in there with our bowl, and then we strain it out with the knee-high stockings. I like this better than the paint strainer because it's a little bit finer, and it works really, really well. So when it cools down a little bit, I'll come back and show you how we strain it. It is a little bit thicker, so it takes a little bit longer to strain, but it's well worth it. So I'll be right back. Okay, so now we took the ava and we put it in the strainer. Unfortunately, I couldn't film that part because my cameraman there, my wife, she had to pour it in for me while I was holding the stockings open. So you can see right here, this is what automatically just kind of poured right through. So I just kind of squeeze it like this a little bit, and you can see it goes through really easy because the cells of the starch have been ruptured, and it's much easier to go through when you add the water, so it's not as thick. If the thicker the water is, the harder it is, or the longer it's going to take to go through. So we can see here that it's almost all the way through, and pretty much all that's left is fiber. And that's pretty much all I do. When I do it this way, I don't wash it twice. I can feel that it's just gritty here. There's no oily kavalactone feel in there at all. So basically that's the boiling method, and from here we would drink it. So again, when we boil it like that, we're not damaging the kavalactones. We're not destroying the kavalactones or anything like that. We're rupturing the cell walls of the starch, releasing the kavalactones, making it a little bit more strong. And it does change the flavor a little bit, but not too bad. And you can see it. It's just another way of making ava. The Hawaiians have done it in the past. It's mentioned in some of the history books, and some of the older Hawaiians that I know have prepared it that way. So anyway, try it out, see if you like it. It's just, like I said, one of the other ways of preparing the ava. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much.